Hospital Porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Herpanmo TV. Welcome back to Herpanmo TV. I'm off on another adventure. So less than 2 weeks after the last one, Contact in the Desert, I'm off to another UFO wackadoo conference. This one is, I'm not going quite so far afield this time. I'm going to Pewsey, Wiltshire. Well, I'm staying in Devizes at the Basis Project headquarters. The conference itself is at Pewsey, Wiltshire, and it's Miles Johnson's The Basis Project. I'll just show you a little bit more about it now. And so this is the event I'm going to see, ladies and gentlemen. Some interesting set of speakers. Some I recognise, others I don't. We have Mark Pilkington, Lucy Wyatt, Jill Kirkham, not heard of her, Deborah Hatswell, Jeannie Rebane, I think I've seen her somewhere, Mark Rayworth I've met, Julie Phelps, Sandy Adams I'm familiar with, Thomas Mikey Jensen, who does work on Mars and space and things like that, and Syed Mohammed Noah, who's a recent addition to the Basis team. He on the subject of Egypt. And look at these. Mark Pilkington is going to talk about UFOs at the Pentagon again, like they've ever been there before. Mind Alchemist with Jill Kirkham. Deborah is going to talk about cryptids, creatures, UFOs, and the unexplained. Pretty much the same things I like to talk about. Jeannie Rebane, synchronicity and astrocartography, a roadmap for this reality. Mark Rayworth, converging into separation. Julie Phelps, the culture of non-humans. Sandy Adams, Agenda 21, or the Sandy Adams team. Yes, she's not alone. She has some people with her. Lucy Wyatt, Bloodlines and the Elite. Thomas Mikey Jensen, Astroarchaeology Research on Mars. And Syed Noah is going to talk about the former. He's a former head of the Archaeological Documentation Department in Luxor. I wonder how he got on with Zahi Hawass. Anyway, let's go there and find out. There's the old cigar, Bill Clinton's. Right next to it, they still haven't cleared up the crashed UFO. Still there. It's this UFO has been lying there now for about 2 years, and the men in black haven't found a way to get rid of it yet. I expect what they'll do is they'll have to put a building over the top of it. You know, like the one Ross Coulthard talks about. You know, what if some of these craft are so big that the government cannot move them? And so what they do is they build a building over the top of it. And I know where it is, but I can't tell you. I'm just going to drop a hint and tantalise you. Yeah, it'll be something like that. Anyway, you see there's the railway station there, and got to go under there. We'll go to Pewsey Island to get the bus. It's the same bus I got when I went to Avebury to Maria Wheatley's thing. And it's a bit of a drag. I don't know how much longer it's going to go on for. God knows what they're building there. I mean, this goes all the way up here, all the way up to Botley Road. So after like 2 years, almost 3 years maybe, maybe it's going to be a permanent feature. But it means that the bus to Swindon doesn't go from Gloucester Green anymore. You've got to walk all the way up to Pewsey Island, which you know from my first St Helena video. You'll know I went there. And I've got to drag this with me. Hopefully I'll be lighter when I go home. It's my books for my stall. So yeah, here we go. Okay guys, I've made it onto the bus. I'm now on the first stage of my journey, off to the town of the pigs. This is Farringdon, ladies and gentlemen. A very interesting town indeed. Now you can see it better from a double-decker bus. I think I showed you when I went to Maria's talk, but there's lots of Tartarian architecture in this town. And see what I mean? Right. See if it goes down to the ground. That's Tartarian. Now this is interesting. Someone has placed a USO thing there, like that's in Darcy Weir's movie. Welcome to the Town of the Pigs. Yeah, I'm back again. I'm going to wait for the bus to Devizes. The weather it's warmed up a little bit, but it's now raining. It's sort of like showering. Hopefully that won't keep people away. That's a bit of Oxford has changed, you know. I found that when I was walking through Oxford to get to the bus stop, things were different. What I wanted to do was Someone suggested I read Out of the Silent Planet, C.S. Lewis. So I've got it on. I was a bit of a hypocrite, I'm afraid. I got it on Kindle. I was just in a bit of a rush. I went and bought the entire trilogy on Kindle. Sorry about that. But I always say, if a book's really good, I'll go out and get the paperback, and I have done. Every Kindle book I've got which I liked, I went and got the paperback. But I was walking, I thought to myself when I was going to go to the Devizes project, I'd go pick up a paperback copy for Blackwell's, so I could read it on the journey. I mean, I've got another book to read anyway, but as well as all these books to sell. But so I went into Blackwell's and I couldn't find it, and I just don't get it. I went through the fiction section where it should be, wasn't there? I mean, it's not. They don't even divide it into like classic fiction and modern fiction anymore. There's even a table for like timeless tales. It's not there. This is really weird because, of course, Lewis, along with J.R. Tolkien, are like they're like the classic authors of the city. I mean, they're the two most famous fiction authors in the city. I mean, the tourists come from miles around to see them, along with Philip Pullman, who's a more recent one. But they didn't have a copy in Blackwell's, which is a famous bookshop in Oxford. It's the main one in Oxford is like the principal Blackwell's headquarters. I mean, they've got branches now all over the country, but that was like the principal Blackwell's, and they had no copies of any C.S. Lewis or J.R. Tolkien. I couldn't find J.R. Tolkien either. I mean, maybe they've removed them for Pride Month or something because they're politically incorrect. Seriously, And I went into Waterstones, it wasn't there either. So it's really strange. You go to Broad Street, which is like such a famous place. The tourists come to see it, and there's like 7 bookshops on Broad Street. I think that's a world record. And you can't buy a copy of books by the city's most famous authors. That's weird. And I'll say more about this later, but last night before I went to bed, I caught Ashton Forbes live. He was live streaming, and I thought that was cool. But I saw that Dr. Stephen Greer was live streaming on another channel. And I watched a little bit of Greer, and he's now got these new documents that have come to light. These new, he says he's got new insider information, new documents, new witnesses, and things like that. And he's put them up on a website. And he says he's going to keep them there for a while. Then they're going to go behind a paywall. He says he's hoping to get enough donations to cover it. Otherwise, he's going to go behind a paywall. And I thought, it's pretty typical of him. And it got me thinking that, because it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but I've got to listen to Stephen Cambion. I mean, he's the guy you love to hate, and as much as I disagree with him and don't like his attitude, I find him oddly compelling viewing. I ripped some of his some audio to put on my earphones, and because he's anti everyone, Cambion. He despises everyone. He says everyone's a grifter, everyone's a UFO circle joker, grifter, wackadoo, and things like that. And I don't agree with him on that. I think it's incredibly cynical of him, but he does make a point which I have to accept, and that is that people are earning a living off the uncertainty, a pre-disclosure. There are people earning good livings, and I mean, I'm not against that. The Communist Party didn't take power in the night, it's not a crime. But in the case of people like Greer, it's a little bit extreme. When a guy is like charging you £5,000 to go sky watching with him, something's wrong. I mean, I went sky watching in South Wales, as you know, and I said, how much is it going to cost me? They said, I'll bring some beers. That's it. So I understand. I can't help agreeing with him a little bit. Now, this doesn't mean every single person involved, even the big names like Bassett and Dolan and that, this doesn't mean they're just in it for the money and they're earning a living off this uncertainty, this pre-disclosure uncertainty, which will then go away. Obviously, this bond will be like dissolved when disclosure happens. And then they'll no longer be able to earn money off it. I don't personally think that they're thinking, right, well, I better keep this gravy train going for as long as possible. I think some of them genuinely want disclosure, and some of them will pay that price. Bassett and Dolan especially. But with Greer's another matter. I'll say more about that later, I think. Anyway, here I am, Swindon. just waiting for to get the next bus. Those spikes there, see, they stop you escaping once you're on the bus, you see. Okay, so I'm on the bus to Devizes now. Another. These things seem to come my way. Another cashless incident has just happened. I was getting on the bus, and there was someone in front of me, a young mother with a number of children. She was trying to make her her phone pay system work on the coach, on the bus to buy a ticket. She couldn't get it to work, and she said, "I'm going to have to go and get some money." And so we let her off the bus. Now, luckily, another kind passenger actually gave her the money to get on the bus. But I said to her, what will happen when they get rid of cash? What if they ever do away with cash? What are you going to do? You can't go anywhere if the computer says no. These things keep happening to me. I think they're going to. So, an illustration. Here we go. And it's the sun shining. That's got something. If you're ever on the number 49 bus, Swindon to Trowbridge, get there early and try and get a seat at the front on the top deck, because this is the most beautiful bus ride that you could ever go on. And I've shown it you before, but what's really nice this time is I'm doing it in summer. It's almost the solstice. Last time I did this journey, if I remember, it was sort of like dark. It was I think it was when I went to the bases at Christmas, and it was getting dark by about 3 o'clock. Now it's like midday still, although it's clouding over quite a bit. So it's a really, really lovely bus ride. It's a bit wet now.
I can't wait. Oh, yeah.
And it stops raining now, so we can wait. There's a good old red lion. Crashed UFO. There's where the church is down there. Oh, do you remember when we were here with Maria? A few months ago when we were with Maria. We did a tour. Do you remember how windy it was? You can't even hear the audio on some of the video I did. I'd say the weather generally since I got back from contact has been pretty lousy here. The temperature's been low, it's been not that wet, but it's been pretty horrible actually, pretty mean, pretty nasty. It's a bit warmer today, but as you can see it's raining, so let's hope things cheer up. That's the Bishop's Canning down there. The Vale of Pewsey. So welcome to Devizes, everyone. I'm here, home of the base's project headquarters, which is where I'm heading now. Looks like we've got a circus in town, so yeah, it's interesting. Can't be a good circus. Anyway, it's been a good journey. Buses on time, things like that, didn't have to wait too long, so can't complain. I think I'm probably one of the first people to arrive. The others will be along sort of during the course of the afternoon. But I'm going to go to the base's solid thanks. I'm going to go to the base's project headquarters now. I have a key to get in actually if Miles is not there. So nice. Circus coming. Now we have along here, this road here in Devizes, some more prime example of Tartarian architecture. This very grand looking building here. Look at this. See? We go along here. This is Long Street here in Devizes. Look at that. Pure Tartarian. Okay guys, I've arrived. I was actually walking along and Miriam, who you mean Miriam Jansa, she saw me in her car and she stopped and gave me a lift the rest of the last few minutes. I'm just going to go out and do some shopping now. I would hope it'll rain and wait till the rain stops, but it doesn't seem to want to stop, so I'm just going to brave it. Alright guys, I'm heading out now. It's almost 6 o'clock. I had a little bit of a sleep when I got back. Going down this little alleyway that runs across Devizes. It's a nice pleasant way of walking through Devizes. Devizes is a small place, everything's within about 20 minutes of everywhere else. Colin and Mark have arrived, I think Jessica's with them. I'm heading for the Wetherspoons. I'm going to have a drink, something to eat. There's football on later, because of course it's the European Cup now, so there'll be a lot of football matches on this weekend. I think Scotland are against Germany this evening. Don't know which side I'm on. Hate them both. I think I just wanted to expand a little bit on something I said earlier. I mean, maybe I've been listening to too much of Cambian, because I had like about 15 Truth Seeker shows on my earphones, and I'm on the last one now. As I said, I disagree with him. Don't like his attitude. I mean, who appointed that babbling beatnik judge, jury and executioner of the UFO community? You know, he's so, oh, everyone's a circle jerker and a grifter, they're all horrible except me, I'm cool, you know. They're all a grifter, just out to make money, but me, praise the cash, praise the cash. Anyway, but you know, he might have a point, certainly about some people, which is that the pre-disclosure dollar, I suppose I would call it. I wouldn't call it grifting. I would call it pre-disclosure income or dollar. I mean, there are people earning a living or earning money through various means on the truth embargo, and in their capacity, the attempt to end it is actually causing them to earn a living. And now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I'm not against that for such. There's a nice house over there, isn't there? In this little place by the old castle. I'm not against that as such. It's not a crime. As I said, the Communist Party didn't take power in the night. But this is the old railway bridge. You can see there used to be a railway here. It's gone now. But you can see it used to run across this bit of, see, Trinity College. The railway used to run through here, see, it's an old bridge. It disappeared long ago. How many of them are sort of dishonest in the sense that they would, if they could, they would keep the truth embargo going, just to maintain that gravy train. No, I don't. Again, Cambian is a very cynical individual indeed. He sees the worst in everyone. He thinks the worst of most people. He's honest. I mean, he actually says, you know, he used to be a complete UFO wackadoo, to use his language, someone like me. And then he sort of lost his faith. I think that's a bad way to put it, but he became cynical. He became sort of like jaded. He felt betrayed. Look at that tree over there. It's lovely, isn't it? This is the churchyard. And as a result, he became anti. This very often happens, actually. Somebody will turn against. They'll be very zealous for something. They'll turn against it. I mean, I made this point in my skeptic talk. You know, will I become a skeptic? Well, I can't rule it out, but I think it's unlikely because I know their arguments. See, I mean, I already know I already know the skeptic arguments because I've looked at their side of the story. I mean, so it's sort of ironic and even in some way paradoxical, but it is the true believer, the zealot, who is most likely to he's most likely to swap benches. Now, Brent Lee said something very interesting once. I don't know about Neil Sanders, but his mate. But Brent Lee said when he was a conspiracy theorist, he's now a skeptic. When he was a conspiracy theorist, he was very intolerant of the skeptics. He hated the skeptics, the people who just refuted what he believed. He was viscerally and instinctively repelled by them. Didn't listen to them. I myself, Brent used to be like me. He used to be a conspiracy theorist, and then, but then he's the one who changed his mind, and not me. He's the one who crossed the aisle and became a skeptic. I didn't. Yeah, I'm the one who is more, I'd say, open-minded. I mean, I've always looked at both sides of the story. I've always taken an interest in both sides of the story. Therefore, paradoxically, I'm less likely to become a skeptic than someone like him, because people like him are more likely to feel that betrayal. They're more likely to feel that disappointment. And I think Campion's the same. Campion is one of these people, I think. It was actually Richard Seymour, he wrote a biography of Christopher Hitchens called Unhitched. It was rather uncomplimentary biography of him. And he made this point. He said it's the true zealot who is most likely, who's recruited most easily to the other side. Not the sort of more, the calmer, more rational one, the one able to entertain different ideas. They're less likely to be recruited. So, of all the people on our side of the debate, I'm one of the least likely to become a skeptic. But I can't rule it out. I don't rule anything out. But I think it's very unlikely with me. And Campion is one of these. Stephen Campion, he once actually was very. I must credit. I actually put a comment on there saying thank you for your honesty. He said that he'd been through a bad time in his life as well. Firstly, he was very ill for a long time. He almost died. He had a stroke. It's left him now partially sighted, this stroke, which is why he wears sunglasses. And some people take the piss out of him for that. I never would do that. I would never take the mickey out of a man's disability. But that's why he wears sunglasses. And he drank heavily for a while. He had mental problems. And he said that he used to find some solace, some comfort and inspiration by watching the Bassett's ex-con videos. He used to put on a VHS or DVD of those. It used to help him sleep and relax. That, I think, explains why he now feels this way, because, of course, he's identified what he believes are the circle-jerking, woo-woo grifters or wackadoos and things like that. And this has made him angry. It's made him angry because he has those emotional hooks connected to him. Sorry to play amateur psychologist. I can't stand amateur. There's nothing I loathe more, actually, than an amateur psychologist, except perhaps a professional one. There's one. There's another one. Hello, gentlemen, how are you?
Hello. Looking up the odds of the Euro.
Oh, right, cool.
There you go.
I'll get a drink.
Having a cheeky.
Hey, well, guys, we're going to watch some football now. It's the first match, is it? It's the first round of the
Germany,
European Cup, 2024. And who's playing, Colin?
Germany and Scotland. So
who are you backing?
Well, I can't bet against Germany, but I am actually have some Scottish blood in me. So come on, the Tartan Army. Any enemy of Germany. No, it's a bit harsh. Good luck to Scotland. Good luck to Scotland. But realistically, it's 11-1. So if you want to make some money, stick tenner on. You're getting 120 quid back. So good luck with that. But, it'll be a major shock. If they would. But then at the end of the day, they've got nothing to lose. So. Apart from the game.
Exactly. But personally, I hate them both, and I hope it's a 0-0 draw. But seriously,
can they both lose?
Seriously, I don't mind. I mean, it's But look at the stadium. What's that stadium called, Colin? Is it what it's called? It's Munich, isn't it? It's right. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it. You'll probably get it on YouTube. They did like a little video the other day, and they had it all lit up like a spaceship in 2001.
Well, I want to see that. That's what I want to see.
Now, if the late great Ian R. Crane was here, what do you think he'd say? What do you think old Greer's saying? I mean, it's... Personally, I think if they try and pull something off it, it won't be a fake alien invasion. It'll be something more conventional.
Dirty bomb.
Yeah, dirty bomb, something like that. But, you know, they got to... If they're going to... You know, they can't... There's no way you're going to get any war with Russia unless there's something has happened which is seemed to be done by Russia.
What, tenor or what?
Tenor on Scotland.
Yeah, he did.
Stop listening to the music.
Well, you'll be laughing.
Loads of ads, of course.
Tell you what, the drinks were. I'll be.
And the thing is, like that, the stadium in Munich, it does look like a UFO. It does. They got it. I don't know if that's part of the architecture, but they certainly, with that particular...
I don't recognise anything.
I think it's that particular little video, for that particular video with the guys, with it all lit up like a Close Encounters spaceship, you could say that's predictive programming, you know?
Stealing your soul.
Oh my God.
It is being stolen.
Miles has just turned up. He's one of the Third Eye spies. He is, but this is the man who's going to be providing all the entertainment tomorrow and Sunday.
There's been a fuse blown. Matthew was eaten by wild dogs and died on the way.
Dear. Oh dear.
And Miriam's going to do a pirouette on her ballet shoes.
Werewolf? Is it a werewolf?
With you.
Yeah, it's going to be a right bundle of laughs. It really is. All right, guys, all my friends are here. See you later. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I just waved goodbye to them all. That's a kind of point of separation. Yeah, I'm going to risk the alleyway, which is not very sensible, I suppose, at 11 o'clock in the night, but, I don't know. I just want to get back. I'm going to keep filming so that I don't... If this camera's ever found, there'll be some kind of record of what happened to me. Because it is a little bit 411-y along here, I must say. It gets completely dark now. I can't see a damn thing. I just gone through the churchyard and I'm now heading onto the old railway bridge. So that's the next thing. So there's a few lights ahead. It is lit, some of this alleyway, actually. But I don't know if it's you see, it's easy to get paranoid. I mean, I wrote an article for UFO Truth magazine about the missing 411, the latest movie by Paulides, which is called The UFO Connection. It is. I don't want to give people nightmares, because in the national parks of US and Canada, millions of people go there. It's the outdoor sports and recreation. There's a great American tradition. Millions of people go and enjoy them They enjoy the stunning natural beauty and the wilderness of the US and Canada. Oh dear, got an extra steps there. Every summer, and no one would have a wonderful time. For every one person who gets 411, there are millions who just nothing bad happens at all, and they have a great time. So I don't want to be a doom merchant. Definitely not. So that being said, so I don't want to get paranoid. I don't want to be one of these people who just lets that kind of fear stop them enjoying it, because this is one of the criticisms of David Paulides. His critics sometimes say, well, look, you're ruining people's holidays with your nightmare stories about people vanishing without trace or turning up later in weird circumstances. But all David is doing is He's engaged in a project to find out what happens to people. He's supported by many of their relatives. As you know, if you watch the films, the Missing 411 series, or you look at Canon 411 on YouTube. The missing, it's like, it's going to go uphill now. People do sometimes vanish in mysterious circumstances. They do. And some people were saying, so it's a bit uphill here, so I'm buffing a bit, must be getting home. There's something weird about Michael Mosley. Now, for those of you who got this spooky this bit, for those of you who are into this sort of thing, watch TV, which I don't, Michael Mosley is a TV presenter, producer. He was on a Simi on holiday with his family, and he went for a walk and ended up disappearing for a few days. Big search project for him. A lot of people went searching for him, and she's away out there, and he eventually turned up dead. There were some 411 elements to that. He disappeared in a place. There were lots of people around. There was a big search party. I think we're nearly out. Yeah, I'll tell you more in a minute. There we are, the Devizes Medieval Trail. There we are. Yeah, this is it's too dark to pause and read that this time, but we're out now. We're out of the alleyway. This location, this spot, where centuries ago people were hanged on this spot. Criminals were hanged here at the crossroads. So maybe that's where it's got its dark reputation from. Definitely. I'm going to walk down here now. I won't film my entire journey to the base's project headquarters, because otherwise I might reveal its location. But yeah, Michael Mosley. He was this guy. He went missing in Simni, Greece, an island, in an area, you know, quite popular with tourists. And there was a big search for him. His children came over, and his grandchildren came over to assist in the search. They flew to the island to assist in the search to find their missing grandfather and father. And his wife tried to find him. Big search. And a few days later, he turned up. He turned up, lying peacefully on his back, with his head on resting against the stone, completely in the open, just a few yards from an area that had already been searched. Not only that, but he was just 100 yards from a restaurant, and you know, this wasn't like some remote area. It was a built-up touristy trail. It's like someone took him and then put him back dead. That's a feature of the 411 mystery. And also, so far, nothing's been published about his cause of death. There's been several assumptions, like he died from heat stroke or dehydration, because it's very hot there in the summer on this island, or he had a heart attack and things like that. He's quite old. I think he was like in his early 60s. But so far nothing formal has been published by a coroner at all. Again, that's very often with 411s, there's no obvious cause of death. Sometimes the body does turn up, often in areas that have already been searched. Or artifacts, you know, belongings turn up. So for example, someone could go missing, and then the area is thoroughly searched, and then long time later, someone finds, for example, the clothing, the person's clothing, or a rucksack or something, and the shoes are like put neatly together, and the clothes are folded, as if by someone at a laundrette. And it's like, it's as if someone's like, I'll just return these clothes then, and the body's the same. It's just like returned. It's just put back, and there's no obvious cause of death. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case. It's just there are some resemblances to the Michael Mosley mystery. And this, it's a horrible thing. It's an awful thing, and his loved ones have my deepest condolences. They really do. And I'm not showing them respect by refusing to talk about it, and I'm not showing sensitivity for his loved ones by saying, well, I won't talk about that, because even though that might be what happened to him, we don't talk about it. This is the same argument with 9/11. You know, how are we showing respect or sensitivity by not talking about what happened to somebody? Perhaps if we talk about it openly, we can prevent things like that happening in the future to others.
Well, good morning everyone. I'm at the Bases Project headquarters. It's Saturday morning. It's about 8:15. I'm just waking up. I got home, as you saw last night. I went home before the others, as I tend to. Had a bloody good sleep last night. So lots of strange dreams about being in airports and it's funny, I can remember some details of some dreams and not others. But anyway, I'm here with Miriam and we're going to head off pretty soon. I'm just watching a podcast of the Lotus Eaters. All hell's breaking loose when I go away. It always happens when I go away. There's some kind of upheaval. But in this case, it looks like France is about to go through another turmoil. Thing to remember about France in the political world. France is not like Britain. Britain, I think, is. I mean, we in Britain, maybe we Brits don't quite appreciate this, but we have an unusually stable society. We're sure we had a civil war in the 16th century. We had the Norman conquest. That was almost 1,000 years ago now. Apart from that, we sort of plod along. We have problems and conflicts, but we tend to sort them out with a cup of tea and a discussion. We're like that. In France, they have civil wars and revolutions. I think they're on their fourth or fifth republic now. I don't know. Very often these upheavals are punctuated by periods of really extreme violence, often involving mass beheadings and things like that. And it could be they're heading for a situation like that now, because funnily enough, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but just after Sunak decided to call a snap general election, Macron, the little gimp, horrid little sort of like Justin Trudeau clone who runs France, they do look very similar, don't they? He also called an election of the Assemblée Nationale, the Parliament, which looks like he's going to lose. And his main political rival, Marine Le Pen, is going to be Prime Minister, head of the legislature, which means even though he retains the office of President, it will be like a lame duck position. Oh, I don't see this ending. I don't see this ending well. Maybe it needs to happen, though. Maybe there needs to be some kind of purge. The thing is it the white hats, or is it just more and more internal elite machinations? Depends if you're a backslapper or not. I think if you're a backslapper, of course, everything is just a deeper part of the conspiracy. If you're not, if you accept that this agenda, things happen within this agenda that are not planned, and it has its weaknesses and limitations, then maybe it's a good thing. Maybe you'll take hope from this. Anyway, I'm having a cup of tea and then we're going to head off to the conference. Alright, ladies and gents, we're driving along the road between Devizes and Pewsey, which is a lovely, lovely road. It's really nice. You may wonder why I'm sort of sitting in the driver's position. That's because this is Miriam's car and it's a left-hand drive. This is Dutch. But the weather is not perfect, it's far from it, but it's still I'm still in good spirits, looking forward to the conference to come. You can see, look at the clouds, they're over the four peaks. Milk Hill, Knapp Hill, and the peaks of Wiltshire. They really are very, the cloud is very low at the moment. Very thick, low cloud, which means we've had a bit of rain. It's still raining like yesterday, only it's worse now. So, hope that it won't keep people away. I mean, we're British. We thrive in this weather. When it rains, we go out into sandbanks in the North Sea and we play cricket. We play cricket in thunderstorms and hurricanes. We British aren't put off by the weather, god damn it. We're pretty stubborn here. You can see up there is I don't think you should see that there's
Milk Hill, I think.
There's Milk Hill, Knapp Hill, and Golden Ball Hill, and Adam's Grave. Golden Ball Hill called because of the sightings of orbs that have been seen there since time immemorial. Look at the cloud, you can only see them, amazing. Welcome back to Bouverie Hall. I've just all just setting everything up inside, and well, it's a bit dark in there. I can't film right now, it's a bit too dark, but I'll do what I can. But the conference starts at 10, so everyone's just lining up to get in right now. Alright guys, looks like we're going to be starting soon. Now it's a bit dark in here, but as you can see, Miles has attracted quite a big crowd, which is nice. Yeah. I haven't counted them yet, but more people will arrive during the course of the day, of course, and maybe more tomorrow. But yeah, it's looking good at the moment.
Sort of relaxing a bit, which is very unusual. But yes, well done, and we've got a...
yeah, Mark's here.
We just did Jill Kirkham. Interesting stuff. I'll say more. Obviously, I'll review the speakers at the end, but I've got my stall here. I'll just show you a bigger picture of my stall later. We can see what I've got here.
Ladies and gentlemen, just so you understand, we have Mr. Bob Osborne is in the house.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Bob Osborne in the house, so that means if anybody doesn't know who Bob Osborne is, we've done 8 episodes with him on the Basis Project on the subject of Zenner, and he's published a fantastic book called Cash is King.
Oh yeah, he was here last time talking about D.H. Lawrence. I remember.
Well, not quite.
So, UFOs, a national security issue, or the Robertson panel was right, and all will become clear shortly. Okay. The Scientific Advisory Panel on UFOs, convened by the CIA in January 1953.
Oh, he's a big-time skeptic, but he's quite interesting.
The evidence presented on unidentified...
All right, guys. That's it. It's lunchtime now. Heading across to the Royal Oak. It's been a good morning. Two interesting speakers. Very different in nature. It's been quite a contrast. We've had Jill, who's like very sort of new age spiritual type. Then we got Mark Pilkington, who's kind of the skeptic. And so it's always good to listen to what they all have to say. I would recommend. I'll do a full review of their talks later. But right now I'm going to get myself something to eat and drink. No one seems to want to buy. No one's bought a book or anything yet. So someone else has asked me to sell another person's books, which I will do. I don't mind promoting other people's stuff if they're interesting. So I'm now heading across here to the Royal Oak. It's open again after being shut for a long time, so that's good. I missed it. I asked Mark about whether he thinks that UAP, the word UAP, will eventually be replaced with something else, because, of course, the term UFO actually, as you know, UFO dates back to the Robertson panel. It was coined to sound more scientific than flying saucer, but of course we loonies culturally appropriated UFO, and that's why UAP came along. But of course at some point UAP is also going to go out the window, because it's going to be associated with we nutcases, with UFO wackadoos. So will something else replace that? Time will tell. I asked Mark, he didn't know. I mean, I didn't get in a long debate with Mark, because he and I have already discussed our disagreements. But I'll give you a full review of his talk later.
So, my name is Jeannie Ravane. Ravane is Latvian for fox. You don't need to know that, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. So, I was born, this is all very new and gorgeous. I was born on the 2nd of February 1960, and this is shortly after I went into tin bath modelling. I think about 18 years.
I'll do photos here. Miles and Hess. This is Rowney Kilda. And that there is my stall. The books, of course. I'm selling these for someone else. This is Phantoms in the Night, or ETs. My lifelong experience concept with paranormal, Lorraine McAdam, and I've got Tina's thing to Disclosure Team, UAP Media, there's Wicked Disclosure Team, Phenomenology. And so, and there's t-shirts. These are still going for a £5 each. I've only got XXL and small, but hopefully I'll be able to shift those.
I've got a number of streams of entities. I've just got 3 on here, one of which was recent. I'll explain magic in the most basic way I can, but there is a foundation to it, which a lot of us miss. It can be overcomplicated and over-explained, and we won't understand it then. The shadow self, which again is very...
You may notice the pile is slightly smaller. He's had 5 now, I've got 4. I sold a book. I sold a book to a lady called Christine. It's always like when you sold the first one, that's always like, good, at least I've sold one. You know, even if I don't sell another one this whole weekend, I can say at least I've sold one book. I've been seeing Mark here. He's very interesting. He was too. So I'll show you the other stalls in a minute. But, yeah, this is It's a start. I'll sell more. Look at everything happening, yeah. Everyone is out having we're having a rest now, having a break.
It's really nice today.
There's some blue sky up there, believe it or not. It's getting cold. I put this on. I just seen Deborah Hatswell talking about the British Bigfoot, and I'll say more later, obviously. But there is Deborah, you see, and hello, and there's the stage where I'm sitting now.
I wasn't really very keen.
It's affecting the sleep, it's affecting the mental health, then they're victims to it. And what I try to show them is that you've done all of that, got yourself up for work, seen to the kids, done all the things that society expects you to do, and you've managed to do that. So you're far stronger than you realise. So let's
do it properly. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Right. Any other comments from you before we break it out? Thank you.
I've got there's a little bit extra to add with the soul aspect.
Lovely, isn't it? The peaks of Wiltshire, there's Adams Grey, there's Milk Hill, Golden Ball Hill.
Yeah,
oops.
I know.
Yeah.
Exact.
Golden Ball Hill, and all these others along here. This is beautiful. Remember, on many other my videos, we've actually walked up there. You've seen other videos where I went up there with David Griffin, and it is a really, really lovely place. This is what I come here for, you know, things like this. Even under the cloud and the miserable weather, it's beautiful. I look all silhouetted at the moment and spooky in the evening sky. I don't know what time it is, about 9:30, something like that. I had a lovely meal at the curry house, not the same one I went to last time, and I'm heading for the Southgate Inn, which is the spiritual home of Miles Johnston. I mean, he fell out with them for a while, but he seems to have made up. Well, he does that with a lot of people. So we're going to have another nightcap, and then day one is over. And there is Monsieur Miles himself, talking to the two resident goths. And he's at his side, and he's got me a side. So, yeah. Back at the Southgate, Miles wants to sit indoors. There's a band playing anyway. Miles doesn't want to sit indoors, wants to sit outside. So it's not that cold now. It's warmed up a bit. So first, we're halfway through. Miles, how's it going?
It's going extremely well.
Yeah.
We've just had a message from Sandy Adams that we have a team of people, and the front is being fronted by Sandy Adams and Lucy Wyatt.
Oh, brilliant.
Because the people behind it, who are physicists and the scientific people, have got other things to do, and it wasn't going to be feasible to bring them down here. However, one particular person, since you're going to be seeing this after the event, is driving the whole way from West Wales.
Oh, wow.
The whole way from West Wales.
Excellent.
The whole way here to do a 1-hour presentation and then get the hell out of here and go back. She's got to work on, she's working today, Saturday, and she'll be working on Monday.
Well, that's commitment.
And this is more than commitment, because there's no point talking any sort of stuff. If you haven't realised something's going on, forget it.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, fuck off.
It's obvious,
You're dead
isn't it?
anyway.
It's obvious.
So,
yeah, Miles and I are relaxing after the first expo.
So we're just waiting on a couple of people. I've got to get up early tomorrow, so we've got a couple of technical problems. We've got a niggling sound noise problem from the digital cabling, and it's a real pain in the ass.
Oh, right. Well, I'm looking forward to it enormously, Miles. And we're down relaxing with some drinks, and then we're going to head home and have a good rest. Well, good morning, everyone. It's about 7:30 in the morning. We're at the Bases Project headquarters in Devizes, Wiltshire. And believe it or not, that's not a UFO there. I saw a big yellow bright ball in the sky. It was a UFO. No, it's the sun. The sun is shining. Forgotten what it looks like. Well, we're driving. It's a much more pleasant drive today that me and Miriam are doing towards the venue, because the sun has come out and it's really, as I said earlier, it's really, really nice. I haven't been able to do the actual speaker reviews today. I'll have to do do them all in one go, maybe tomorrow morning. But there's lovely clouds and there's sunlight and it's fresh. And you can see the hills in the distance. You will in a minute when we come round the corner.
We'll get there, we'll get there.
I had the mother of all sleeps last night. I really had a fantastic sleep. Yeah. Did you as well, Miriam?
Could have been been a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good.
I'm glad I went home early. I'm glad I didn't stay too late at the pub. Oh, it was fun at the pub. It was nice to go to the South Gate again and see Miles and his friends. Yeah. Oh, we've got some cyclists coming up. Yeah. This is Sunday morning, so there's not much traffic around, and it's just pleasant and it's lovely. We just went over the canal, the famous canal, and now we've got to get past these cyclists. Yeah. But there's no rush. We've got plenty of time, and Miles has already set up, so he sort of shared our breakfast this morning. And I'm looking forward to seeing my friends, maybe selling a few more books. And Sandy Adams is going to be here today, and Julie's going to do her talk. Really looking forward to it. There are the hills. You can see, aren't they lovely? This is called the Wiltshire Peaks because they're the highest points in Wiltshire. Golden Ball Hill, Knapp Hill, Adam's Grave, and we're gonna see if we can summon a UFO now, aren't we?
Right.
Yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Eastfield. Now that's
not at Eastfield yet.
Oh, we're not. All right. Sorry, it looks like it. Eastfield is wrong here. That's right. Yeah, Eastfield is when you get near Alton Barnes. Yeah, Alton Barnes. But Eastfield is huge. It's about a square mile. It's an enormous field, and it's had
this valley, which is beautiful, and then you cross this hill, this ridge, and you get into the next wave.
Oh, nice.
I loved it.
Yeah, and Eastfield's had a crop circle almost every single year. And it's in a perfect place for them because there's hills all around. You can see them very well from the peaks. And crop circles tend to be made in places they're either on slopes or they're on fields with hills surrounding them, high ground, so people can look down on them. And they want to be seen, you see. They want people to see them. Funny enough, I think it was a couple of years ago that there was no crop circle until like the day before the Bases conference. And this has happened again. We just had our first ever crop circle of this year, and it appeared like about 3 days ago. I don't know where. Colin knows all the details, but
it's near Wilton.
Yeah, it looks like a planetary alignment thing with the Earth and the giant outer planets. But I mean, these things are open to interpretation, of course. But the thing is, it's like, I mean, the reason the crop circles are so late may simply be because the crops are late because of the very cold and wet spring we had meant that farmers couldn't sow until quite late in the season. And now the crop is actually less mature than it should be at this time of year. Now, there's not even any rapeseed out yet. This could be this could be why the crop circles are late, or it may be another reason. Maybe whatever's making them has decided that they want to do. They decide when they do things at what time. So interesting stuff. Yeah, this is.
I think the rapeseed has already done.
Sorry.
I think the rapeseed was already.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see any. I haven't seen any.
It's yellow fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
They were there. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why I miss living in Oxford. I thought I wasn't out yet. Oh. But anyway, this is Eastfield, isn't it? Is this one Eastfield? I think it is. No? Oh, there's the White Horse. That White Horse up there is actually not. It's actually a Victorian. You can't see it past Miriam's head, but it's actually a Victorian folly. It's not an original White Horse. The original White Horse at Uffington. It's a copy of the Uffington White Horse, which is actually not contemporary with say Stonehenge or Avebury. It's much more recent. It's actually probably early Celtic, about 1000 BC. But it still has this sort of like mystical element to it. You know, as people want to copy. This is Alton Priors. See, it's got a little phone box there. It's beautiful. Alton Priors is like a real ye oldie village. It's like up so well preserved. It reminds me of Binsey near Oxford. This is Eastfield, right? Here we are. Yeah. And there's no crop circle in it now, but it may get one before the end of the season because it almost always does.
And when you get there to the bush there's a bit of a parking spot.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
And you look down, you can see the field.
And that's where we go, like, this is where the path is as well. There's a path that goes up here. I remember, and I walked up it many times, daytime and nighttime. It's actually really amazing place. I don't think the camera can quite capture the majesty of this place. Here we are, look at this. And this is the perfect spot for viewing crop circles, it really is. Look at that. You see the clouds going across it. What a lovely spot. Yeah. That view. Yes, we did a couple of years ago. I just filmed it at the time. See the clouds going across it. This view alone makes the journey worthwhile. Thank you for coming here. There's Eastfield and there's the peaks all arranged along there. So, any UFOs out there, please come down and show yourselves to us. We are contacting Uber UFOs right now, ordering one. Here we're at Bouverie Hall, and as you can see, the circus is in town. How do you do that? It must be really difficult. Well, he's learnt how to. I suppose that's something. There we go. See if I can sell any books. And Julie's up first. Julie's actually over there, and she's first speaker here at Bouverie Hall. There's fewer people here at the moment, although probably more people will arrive during the course of the day, I expect. It starts off sometimes with a few and then more turn up, but this is sort of the hangover slot, so I'm not that worried. But,
Jessica will be here again with Selena.
Yeah.
Saw them all last night, didn't you?
Yeah, they'll be here. Yeah, they'll be here. And it's Colin and Mark now. They were in the curry house last night.
That was from when it was in.
Is that a Phoenix?
Well, it was in Phoenix, but it is a Phoenix as well. I think it is a double Phoenix because it was in Phoenix, Arizona, the conference, and then it was on the American Reservation week apart.
Oh, how you doing? It was also like a sort of a resurrection of an original idea. That was the Laughlin conference, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's the Phoenix is symbolic of it rising again from the ashes of the old conference.
And then a year later, 2019, that's when this is actually the very last one at the reservation, and then it went downtown Phoenix, and then because it was expanding, and then COVID happened, obviously. So
yeah, and then Contact in the Desert. Contact's now kind of the primary one, I think. So
yeah, Contact is the main one.
Gives you an idea. And then the Fae, even on our own planet, we're so blind as human beings. We can see so little, and as the spectrum is so vast out there. Now we've got tools, we can start to see things like Fae. Some of them, they live kind of like humans in a way, some of the Fae. So a lot of them have jobs to do with nature and things, so they're involved in nature. Some of the elementals get cheesed off when we build somewhere or do something else, so they kind of back away and they live in a
stall here. We've got Bob Osborne's books. Bob is here as well, and there's Bob's breakfast there. And of course, the best newspaper in the world, The Light. And this is my friend Patricia here has folded all the t-shirts properly. So yeah, there's nothing happen. She's much better at it than I am.
Taken a month after the first image was taken, with an image months between them. What I want you to notice are those white dots there. You got one dot there, and you got another dot.
Oh, well, I'm now heading across to the pub once more. It's been a it's been a good morning actually. Two great speakers, Julie Phelps and Thomas Jensen. Thomas Jensen in particular was loads of stuff that I hadn't heard before. And it's actually warm. It's actually really nice and warm. Oh, I actually gave a book away. I gave a book to Thomas and Dolly, Dolly Ingalls-Stowstar, who's Thomas's wife, and who, of course, is always very much involved in this particular conference. I gave them a book. I gave them a Rising. It's, you know, so because I think they deserve it. I'm also confident that they'll buy it's an investment. I think they're confident. I'm confident I'll buy the second and third part, Revealed and Redeemed too. So there is that element to it as well. And I met another friend, a lady called Patricia, and she's been like help me looking after the store, like the t-shirts which Tino designed. She's folded them properly. She knows how to fold them properly. It's something I'm never very good at. So I'm grateful to her too. But right now I could use a pint. Let's look at the birdies. Hello, birdies. And enjoy the nice weather while it lasts. That's good, isn't it? Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am in the Royal Oak. Got my friend Craig here, but he doesn't want to be on camera. And we're just enjoying the nice weather. And it's so much different from yesterday. It makes all the difference, I think. So I got myself a beer, and that's the extent of my dinner, because that's such a big breakfast. I've got pork scratchings, which is a new delicacy I've just discovered. Everyone else has eaten them, but I haven't yet. So I'm now into pork scratchings big time.
This is their interpretation. My interpretation, opposite of that at all. These two pieces explain how Horus the Elder, he created the sun in Luxor. And
given that religion was just a power play for them, they could just as easily support Protestantism if that suited their interests. So I should say at this point a little bit about the Venetians and why Europe had ganged up on them. Venice was run by
the Venetians.
Come from Rome.
1.5 of this. They're looking for a scapegoat. They're looking for a new enemy to unite the whole of the world with a crisis. And they found out what to do. In searching for an enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill. They made it up. And so they're saying that all these dangers are caused by human intervention, and it's only through changed attitudes and behaviour that they can be overcome. The real enemy, then, is humanity itself. So in 1991...
Well, guys, I'm here with Sandy Adams again. Hey, Sandy. How you doing? It's good to hear your latest talk. It's really interesting.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah.
I learned a lot about the background to it, along with Lucy Wyatt. I think the two fit very well together.
Fit very well together, yeah.
I didn't realise it went back that far.
I
knew about Alice Bailey and the Wiltshire Trust and things like that, and the early UN, but I didn't know about. I didn't know this idea, the whole idea of like the doom cult.
The doom cult, yeah, and it's still going on. It is a death cult. It's a death cult that they want us to. I mean, when you look at Extinction Rebellion with those women all dressed in red and people having die-ins, it's a death cult.
It really is, isn't it? Have you noticed that King Charles's official portrait looks like he's bathed in blood?
Yeah.
It's like the picture of Dorian Gray.
Exactly.
It's really horrible.
No, it's really horrible, and it's almost as though this whole agenda's being revealed to us.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbelievable, really. That portrait was a big wake-up call to people.
That's an important point, actually. They seem to be operating without cover now. And we've seen it. I mean, in the political system is more transparent.
Yeah.
It's almost like. I do feel hopeful. I do. Because
so do I. Never ever give up hope. Never give up. Never give in.
It's the popularity of some of these ideas now. The fact that there's so many people who are called conspiracy theorists now. That you can tell by the very backlash against us, I think, is real from the media. And I noticed that the whole COVID thing, the whole COVID agenda there was a massive hard stop on it in sort of November 2021. It was really weird. I don't know if you noticed, but one minute it was the current thing, and then within 3 weeks or so it'd been forgotten. It's just gone.
It's a massive sort of gaslighting of humanity, actually, isn't it? It's like, oh, that didn't happen. Well, yes, it did.
Was it all
and
well
you traumatised the entire world. What the hell?
Eurasia's already been at war with East Asia, and Eurasia's our allies now.
Yeah.
And it's like it happened almost seamlessly, and that's it's for me that's just.
Yeah.
But it's an indication that somehow it didn't work, and they had to reverse. They had to
exactly
put the brakes on.
Well, it didn't work. I think what they really wanted was mass you know, everybody not enough of us got vaccinated, I think, and I think they realised that their cover was blown.
Yeah.
So now they're probably just regrouping to bring the next thing.
I knew there would be another, and I didn't know about Rima Labo, and I know Rima Labo, and I work against genetically modified foods. But you know, is she really campaigning to get countries out of the United Nations?
Yeah. There's Canada. Connie Shields in Canada Canada are going along with it, or going for it. America, and she's trying to get England, Australia, New Zealand, all of people in each country to actually challenge, because the UN apparently don't have jurisdiction over us. It's only assumed.
Yeah.
And it's all by consent, let's face it.
And I read Geo Griffin's The Fearful Master a long time ago. It's an excellent book.
Yes.
Great introduction.
Yeah.
Written quite a while ago, but quite predictive.
Oh, it's still relevant, And it's true that they assume authority over us, and we believe it to be true. And it's just like the Wizard of Oz, really, isn't it? You pull back the curtain, and there's no real power there.
It's fallen to it, but people, I suppose, it's not really encouraged to make people think, well, is there a way out of this? We're not. I suppose most people just assume things like it's like with bailiffs, people don't realise bailiffs can't actually break into your house. And the BBC license payers, the BBC license TV collectors can't break in. You can just tell them to go away, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think they prey on human ignorance. But I appreciate it, Sandy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely to see you, Ben. Bless
you too.
Just
as a side, I really like your shoes. I think they're really cool.
Oh, thank you.
They are just perfect for like when you have to stand for long periods.
Yeah, they're really comfy. I love them. They're little ankle boots. Really nice.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got these ones that are sort of wearing out, so I'll just get some new ones. But thanks very much, Sandy.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Nice to see you.
You too.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Skeptic. He's a polymath. He's a genius, and what he has done is hypothesize that the Earth will flip anyway. It will just do it because this is what understanding
vaccination rollout as the whole world was. But what's happened really is that there are things happening within the whole corporate world, where some of the banks, I was speaking to Lucy earlier, the whole thing about Larry Fink and the whole BlackRock thing, is that people are beginning to see through the lies, because all they're trying to do is replace one economic system for another.
That's it, it's over. Miles and Matthew are taking everything apart. There's all my stuff. Tables are gone. Yeah, it's the end. So, it's that post-conference moment I was talking about. But it passes over quickly. Yeah, all the tables and chairs are packed away in here. We've just all put them away here, see. Tables and chairs will go in there. They'll be there for us when we come back next year, or maybe sooner. Okay, well, we're out of the Bouverie Hall now. We've just been actually helped Miles and Matthew rig. I actually, I can't believe it. I touched the manna from heaven. I handled the Holy of Holies. I actually held the Blessed Sacrament in my hand. Just winding up cables, dismantling the stage, that kind of thing. And I didn't get yelled at. Wow. I never thought that would happen. No, it's, don't fucking move that! It's exactly where I fucking wanted to be! Do it fucking properly, put it over there! But no. Miles was calm, he appreciated my help, so that's nice to know. Anyway, we're going to head out. I'm probably going to miss the kick-off, but it's got 7:45 now, but England are playing at 8, so I'll probably get there soon after kick-off. Anyway. Sort of keep up. Yeah, we went to the football. We went and watched the football. England won 1-0. It was a very, very good game. I didn't film at all in the pub because I was just relaxing. It was much better than Friday's match, it was much more very exciting match indeed. Both sides played very well, and we funnily enough, something weird happened. We finished watching the football. We'd had our meals, and suddenly someone had left the TV on. And guess what appeared on it? A programme about the Broadhaven UFO incident. How's that? It's just coincidence. Just like synchronicity. It suddenly was there. And we watched a bit of it. We've left now. It's from the BBC, so it's probably going to be shit anyway. But I mean, I'm afraid they've yet to produce a good programme about this subject, so I'm not, you know, I'm not waiting to see. But anyway, we're going to head home now. So it's been a good conference, good day, and hopefully I'll be seeing my friends tomorrow. I don't have to rush home, plenty of time. I can have a breakfast and everything, so... Oh, hey. Well, good morning. It's Monday morning. It's about 20 to 9. I've laid in a bit this morning. Time to go back to the so-called real world, but there's no rush. That's a good thing. Anyway, the weather's nice again, as you can see, so things are looking up. Oh, good morning. Miles here is having breakfast, and he's got on this brilliant t-shirt. That's got one of the best t-shirts I've ever seen. Keep calm and carry on. Exactly.
You've all seen that, but
yes.
How many have seen this one?
Your courage, your cheerfulness, and your resolution will bring us victory. Well, I quite agree, yes.
Your courage, your cheerfulness, coming from miserable bastard like me, that's difficult. Your resolution will bring us to victory.
It's true, isn't it?
Against the alien hordes of Draco.
Right. True right.
And the Nebu, whatever.
The Nebus and the Sadays, whatever they're called, the Saday Bigfoot creatures, whatever they're called, the Sadays, or whatever. What is Julie call them?
The Nibu.
The Nibu and the Sadays, yes. They're very, very...
They're the grey versions. They're the greys that work with the Draco from Orion.
Yeah. I've learned so much at this conference, doing new, different words for everything. It's been incredible. I'll say more about the speakers later, but I haven't done a review of the speakers yet. I've got to do that at some point, but when I find time. Right. I'm here in Devizes Town Square, which is a lovely place. It's a sort of memorial. Well, I think it's a war memorial behind me. Just waiting to see what the others are doing. It looks like summer has returned at last, or maybe just arrived. I don't know, because I mean, I spent the beginning of the month in the desert country, so maybe I can't judge. But it's very, very pleasant indeed. It's warm. It feels very warm. Almost makes you want to seek the shade, even at like 10 in the morning. In Devizes, and once again, I've had breakfast at New Society. Now, I know that sounds like the kind of it sounds like the kind of place that Tony Blair would set up, but it's not. It actually serves the best breakfast in Devizes. It's a bit more expensive than the Wetherspoons, but it's much bigger and nicer. So I do recommend, if you're ever in this town, to have breakfast at New Society. It's about midday now. I've been hanging around for ages. Just having a long breakfast, talking to people, and well, I've got to get the bus back at some point, but there's no real rush actually to get home. But I've got to go back to Miles's place and pick up the bags. So that's the next stop on my way. Well, I've come back to the grounds, the outdoor section of the Bases Project headquarters, and it's very, very nicely decorated with this very pleasant statue there, you see, and that one there. So yeah, so very nice. And, the weather continues to be beautiful. I don't see any chemtrails, it's just big fluffy clouds. Or is it the little fluffy clouds, like the song goes? Little fluffy clouds, little fluffy... You know that song? The orb, yeah. Little fluffy clouds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hiya, how you doing? Take a seat, make yourself comfortable. We're in the garden at the Bases Project headquarters with Colin and Jessica. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the speakers at this particular conference. I finally got around to it. Well, it was open. The event was opened by Miles, and he paid tribute to several absent friends. We have a few more departed souls, unfortunately. Hilary Porter, Anna Hess, Ronnie Kilder. Seems the team on the other side is still signing up new members. And then Jill Kirkham was the first speaker, and someone I've not really heard of before, but she talked about connecting with your star family and synchronicity. She talked about the neurodiversity. Funnily enough, David Grush, who's a very famous name now in the UFO community, is neurodiverse. She grew up in a haunted house, and she had an imaginary friend. And as you know, children who have imaginary friends never refer to them as imaginary. This is a name that adults give them when they to belittle the experience. And she says, if you have these experiences, you're not going crazy. She had telepathy with a gorilla,
at one point. It's amazing. And she's talked about the human experiences, people having human experiences, but galactic beings, and there's a healing opportunity, but a danger as well. Interesting. Now, Mark Pilkington was the second speaker. Now, I've talked about him many times before. I'm familiar with his work. He's writing a new book, which no doubt I will have to review at some point, which I will do. I read his last one. He gave a talk which is actually pretty much, it was pretty predictable actually what his position would be. It was kind of an update really on the UFO situation from his perspective, from his kind of, the way he looks at things. As you know, Mark Pilkington is essentially a skeptic. He believes there's really, he does, but he leaves a little one window half open to the possibility there's something real. He himself had an experience of his own. Long ago when he was driving once, a silver spherical object flew over his head. He described it in his book. But he saw it very closely. It was a close encounter. But he basically says what we call UFO culture, the UFO field, UFO information, is some kind of smokescreen. It's kind of some kind of piece of engineered neo-mythology designed to launder more down-to-earth secret projects such as spy planes or intelligence operations. And he doesn't really give what I think is a very good explanation for that. And as I've said many times, it's much more likely we're dealing with some kind of double bluff. That there is a real extraterrestrial presence that the government is trying to suppress, and that what he describes, the agenda he describes, is a part of the cover-up. I think that's far more likely. I don't need to use my analogy, the bank robber again. I've used that many times before, but this is one of the main reasons I think Pilkington's central thesis is wrong. But he mentions the Robertson panel of 1952. Interestingly, that was where the term UFO was coined. Before that, people used the word like spaceships, flying saucers, but they wanted to sound more scientific, so they invented the term UFO, unidentified flying objects. But then we loonies culturally appropriated UFOs. This is why they invented UAP. So when we loonies culturally appropriate that, they're going to think of something else. He came out with things. A lot of what he talks about. He mentions David Grush, who he said was basically he repeats the standard backslapper sort of skeptic line on people like David Grush. They basically sold their careers because of their friendships with UFO believers, things like that. And he comes out with a lot of very conventional ideas about the threat of the far right and things like that. On January the 6th, special forces ready to storm the military-industrial complex and things like that. He mentions John Warner on Dark Journalists, the Disclosure Disturbance. Christopher Mellon showing the Eccles balloon at the TTSA Academy, which was a disappointment, I must admit. And he says that this is what he describes as dark ufology. And there's a lot that he goes back up to things like the Rand Corporation, someone called Gene Hungerford, who seems to be a sort of like American Isabel Menzies Lythe, and things like that, and about the chain letter conspiracy, the fake chain letters, which were kind of like QAnon. Again, he's always interesting. He's interesting to listen to, and I will read his new book, but I don't agree with him. Jean Rebane. Oh, she was a very, very lively old lady who talked about the age of Aquarius and the phrase that, J.P. Morgan said, millionaires don't do astrology, but billionaires do. Yeah. And that's true, actually. I know astrologers who are on retainers from multinational corporations. And she talks about lines, there's geographical lines like ley lines which trace your life path. From her it was from Yorkshire to Birmingham and then to Swansea. I didn't quite understand that bit, but she's a very likeable lady. She's into the urine drinking thing, which is something I could never get into for some reason. Everyone on CMR used to do it. Is it? Did you tried it?
Yeah,
oh.
I thought, let me try it.
Only very cheap brand apple juice.
One day it literally did taste like water.
One, you know Dave Murphy?
Yeah, oh yeah. Allegedly Dave.
Allegedly Dave. Yeah. I remember one time he was talking about it and he said, oh, you know, it tastes just like water. And I thought, yeah, right. And I've been doing it for a while. And there's this one particular one I went and looked at it, gosh, it looks like water. And it was like it was water.
That surprised me, you know, because like...
But that's after, so the worst one is the first one in the morning. And yeah, and then I was looping, so I was literally, every time I peed, I was looping. It's called a loop. And the more you do that, I think the cleaner it gets.
I said, oh right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Did you put it in the fridge or not?
No, like, I mean, you know, it's not a problem, you know.
You mean you didn't put the ice cream in the fridge?
It's better, for me, it's better to drink it warm as it comes out.
Talking about urine.
Yeah, I did that.
Because in the early CMR days, 2012, it was Dave that got people into it, because Dave had a show on then. And
Towards the end of 2014.
yeah, I could never quite...
And I just thought it can really take out... I was in a Facebook group and everything. And I thought, gosh, these people are taking it way too serious. Like, you can use urine. They use urine for everything. So they'll bathe in it.
I've done that. It helps with skin problems.
And do the laundry with it.
Laundry?
And something like that. I just don't think I want a life where I'm saving up all this wee and...
Yeah.
Sod this. But you know what? In worst case scenario, I know I'll never be thirsty.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're desperate, I mean,
you know,
if you're like
really quench my thirst.
like Tom Baker's character in Blackadder, yeah. He started before the water ran out. It's just, I mean, it was Dave who started the whole thing off in his show, but I mean, everyone on CMR was into it. I tried it, but yeah, I mean, it's something that I don't discount necessarily. It's just, it takes a lot of commitment, I think. It's very sort of an anathema to what we sort of used to, you know. Yeah. So, viewers, I'm not taking a piss, honestly. But anyway, that was so. The next speaker was Mark Rayworth talking about separation. He talks about the Port Talbot UFO and how he's seen UFOs morph into a plane. He had experience with entities and with portals appearing on his wall. He was there with his son. It was an interesting thing. He was an interesting guy. And then Deborah Hatswell. Now, Deborah Hatswell is the British Bigfoot lady. She spoke at the Dreamy Sources, the conference I organised, and she mentions her experience with the Bigfoot in 1982 at Salford, at a place called Buell Hill Park. Now, what's funny is that she seems to have changed. I don't know if, well, she can correct me if I'm wrong, but she seems to have changed her position a bit, because she's seeing this more as a paranormal phenomenon rather than cryptozoological. And she talked about dogmen as well, and Bempton. Now, Paul Sinclair has investigated Bempton in great detail, and things like that. And she also talked about there was a haunted pub in Lincolnshire she investigated. So she seems to have changed her position. I mean, and also in Wantage, near where I live, she knows somebody who's had like a rather aggressive spirit in their home and things like that. And there was a panel discussion which talked about autism and the V word, you know, the treatment. What if the moon is a spaceship? And this is something new. Gravestones that cause trapped spirits. Apparently, gravestones make it more likely that you'll be a ghost that walks the earth. And it says like what they should do. What this person, I can't forget. Was it Julie? I can't remember. But one of the people on the panel said that you should just feed yourselves to the animals in the woods when you die, or something like that, or be cremated. Julie Phelps was the first creature. Did I say creature? She was the first speaker on a Sunday morning, talking about the culture of other beings, and she talked about how there's a different word for there's different words for aliens. Like there's one's called the reptilians are called the Uganga. And what the word for Bigfoot is the Sabe. He says that the Sabe are like Bigfoot-like creatures, but they are the elements are. But this is what a lot of the Fortean people think. This is why they disagreed with Deborah, because Deborah was saying it was an actual cryptid. But some other researchers consider them to be interdimensional beings. And they do sort of
the interdimensional beings that kind of appear in that form. And believe it or not, Bigfoot sightings have happened in places outside the Bigfoot heartland, that is the Western North America, in places where UFOs have occurred, like Presque Isle, 1965, I think it is, where a craft landed and a Bigfoot came out and attacked a car. But she talked about how Victor Rothschild was bumped off and replaced with someone else. She herself was worked on advanced craft and worked for Marconi and Plessy, working on microchips and things like that. And Robert Monroe, she talks about the Gateway Project and Robert Monroe and Elaine. Now I don't know much about Elena Danan, but I've heard of her. I know Elena Danan is very sort of like big in the scene. I have to look more about her. Also, encounters with Naga, which are snake-like creatures, and angels and saints, and also Padre Pio. Padre Pio was a famous stigmatic. In other words, he had the wounds of Christ on him. She's had communication with him. Now, Thomas Mickey Jensen was a very interesting character. He's apparently Thomas Mikey Jensen, a Danish chap. I've known him. I've met him before. He's married to Dolly Indigo Star. He's a partner of Ollie Indigo Star now, which is nice. I wish them luck. Good for them. And has made some documentaries like on Spacelink TV and Moonspace TV. And he talked about Mars, about how there are things on Mars which indicate there are intelligent structures on there, like big square things. There's a saucer-like object on the hill. It looks like the Sleeper House, from Woody Allen's film The Sleeper. And how this Enki's fourth tablet talks about chariots that fly into the sky, which of course chariots are vehicles pulled by horses. And there's a place called the Fields of Geton, which it was like a city. It's like a city, definitely. To be fair, there's this lady I know who's there who's a geologist, and she said no, that bit's natural, but the other things are not. Now, Said Mahmoud Noah, he's a former inspector of antiquities in Egypt, and he said there are errors in the official story of Egyptian art. He was a bit hard to understand, actually, because he had a strong accent, but he talks a lot about symbolism in the art and architecture of ancient Egypt. Like, sometimes it's just the figures, the profile figures you see on wall frescoes and things like that. And like, you see them holding their hands in particular positions and with 3 fingers out or something. That symbolises planets. Very interesting that is, and there's some things in the Ashmolean Museum which he says are very. And now I've got to look those up because I live near the Ashmolean Museum. Now Lucy Wyatt, there was like a triple bill of 3 speakers: Lucy Wyatt, Sandy Adams, and Teresa Tannehill. And they talked about like the origins. Firstly, about the agenda for the New World Order and its origins. It was very interesting because you hear things like. People say it's not the Jews or the Americans or the anything like that, right? It's not the Germans. Sorry, Michael Shrimpton, it's not the Germans. Guess, it's the Venetians. Remember that if you ever go to Venice.
They came from Rome.
Yeah.
And are part of the Iranians.
So
It makes the Iranians
Jewish. When it comes to finger pointing, right? It's now the Venetians.
When Ben sits in a chair.
Oh yeah, I did break that one. Yeah. But anyway, the Venetian. I personally don't attribute the Illuminati to any particular nationality or race. I think what you'll find is there are elite individuals in all cultures on Earth.
You bring this out refreshment.
And so I don't. And also, I don't like this idea of pointing at certain groups of people. I mean, you might know some Venetians. And are we supposed to like turn against them because they're Venetians? Of course, I mean. Anyway, but still, it was very interesting. She talks about the origins of the duality and the difference between the doom cult and the life cult. Right, and it can be traced back in what we call the skeptics, basically. People. The skeptics are kind of like. It's kind of like the skeptics and the open-minded scientists, and it goes back a long way to people like Gottfried Leibniz and his conflict with Isaac Newton. Of course, we all know about Antoine Béchamp and Louis Pasteur, although Lucy didn't mention it. And there's a guy called John Lash who wrote a book called Not in His Image, which looks interesting. And she mentioned a book, a very good book actually, by Ian McGilchrist called The Master and His Servant. It's about the left brain. And it's a bit like what David Icke talks about, left brain prisoners and things like that. And he talks about, like, this goes back so far, believe it or not, even the conflict with the Platonic school and Aristotle. Because Aristotle was the person who said that everyone was a tabula rasa, a blank slate. He even called some people natural slaves. And he said that some people were just bound for slavery and nothing else. And of course this was used to justify, people like Charles Darwin and Sir Francis Galton. They brought up eugenics and things like this. I didn't realise these ideas were so old, but they are. This conflict between the skeptics and the believers, and using believer in the term of someone who's just not like completely mechanistic, and he said that the whole mechanistic worldview. I mean, Ken Wilber talks a bit about this. How it can be traced so far back. Yeah, and he said William I was also the Doge of Venice. The Doge is the word they use for the head of government in the Venetian Republic. He was also the Doge of Venice, and he became King of England. He was actually a Dutchman, not a Venetian, but I don't know. Yeah, but people like Thomas Malthus who talked about overpopulation, that goes back to much earlier ideas. So whenever you hear the phrase "trust the science," right, just remember where it goes. It's a line that goes back over 2,000 years to the ancient Greeks and the conflict between the Illuminati and what they wanted for us to be left-brained, mechanistic, materialistic kind of monsters, and right-brained people who believe in life, in creativity, and that we're not blank slates and we actually have an eternal purpose and our life has a purpose. So that was incredibly interesting from Lucy Wyatt. Sandy Adams, who I really like her. She's lovely, and she talked about Morris Strong. She takes it forward to the 20th century and about how the UN Earth Summit and the Sustainable Development Goals and things like that. There was this idea in 1930 about technocracy. Funnily enough, a guy called Joshua Haldeman was behind this, and guess who his great-grandson was, or is? Elon Musk. Yeah. I mean, so he started the Club of Rome. Was it grandfather or great-grandfather? Joshua Haldeman. Do you remember if it was his grandfather or great-grandfather, Elon Musk? I mean, this was probably grandfather, because this was like 1930, and this guy was quite young. So probably grandfather. Because Elon was born 1970, I know that. Yeah, I don't know. That's Oh, there's plans for no aircraft by 2029. No shipping, no red meat, no fossil fuels. And King Charles apparently supporting this. King Charles has just had a portrait done of him. Looks like he's bathing in blood. It's like the bloody that film. The portrait of picture of Dorian Gray. It's horrible. And apparently a red heifer has just been born. Apparently this is ritualistic within the occult. And it's to do with the Ephraim, the lost tribe of Israel, and how they want to build the third temple. But the good news is a white calf has been born to a buffalo in the United States. And apparently, that's according to I think it's the Sioux Indians and their spiritual tradition. A white calf is a sign of rebirth, and it's a good omen. And so that's a good omen certainly for the US, but also for the rest of the world. And then Theresa Tannehill, oh God, my goodness me. If you ever want cheering up, right, don't talk to Theresa Tannehill. She said, she said, Schrodinger's apocalypse. In other words, you don't know what it's going to be yet, like the cat that's either dead or alive. And she gave a list of pole shifts, Carrington events, Beaufort gyres, where the Earth's crust shifts, EMP nukes, geoengineering. I mean, Rand Flem-Ath used to write about this, about the whole crustal displacement thing, which is actually very interesting. And she mentioned someone called the ethical skeptic, which is... I like ethical skeptics, actually. And about how there is climate change, but it's actually just natural. And the elite have their doomsday bunkers, although they won't necessarily... it's not necessarily good. If you ever read The Mask of the Red Death by Cory Doctorow, I've done a review of that. It's about some plutocrats who go into a doomsday bunker thinking they'll be safe, but they all die. Sorry, but it's funny. And the UN is set. It's what Theresa said, which is very interesting. It's kind of like these are like a trilogy. These, Lucy, Sandy, and Theresa. the UN seems to be setting this whole system up so that if they take advantage of a natural disaster, so it's kind of like they're waiting for a natural disaster to occur, but they're setting the whole thing up so that when it happens, we'll be hurt even worse. In other words, destroy farming, so we'll have nothing to fall back on when the food systems, when all the bugs die and the hydroponic farms are smashed to pieces, we'll have nothing to fall back on because there'll be no farmland, things like that. GM food, stuff like that, yeah. In the Q&A, people ask, are people waking up? Now, Teresa, funnily enough, became a bit of a bright spark and an optimist at that point, because she says, yes, they are, not as fast as I would like, but still, they're waking up slowly and bit by bit, so, so it's just kind of like, all in all, an interesting set of speakers. I made notes, I can hardly read my own writing, so I'm sort of working more from memory. I don't know why I bother. Why do I bother even writing anything down? Anyway, that was the speakers. Well, I'm on the bus now to Swindon. First stage of my journey home. Sad to leave the others, I wanted to stay. But back to Normiville. This is always a bit of a drag. I've got to feed my daughter's cats as soon as I get home. My bag with me. I mean, the bag is 3 books lighter. I sold 2. And I gave 1 to Dolly and Thomas, because they deserved it. Also, it's an investment. I think they'll probably read the second 2 afterwards, knowing their interests. But it's always never fun at the end of a good conference. But I'll get over it. I've got this lovely bus ride anyway to look forward to. And the weather is great. This is Swindon. I decided to come here and do a special video about the graffiti and the murals here, like the ones I do for Oxford. The Janet coach. Did you see the Janet coach there? Well, I'm back in Oxford where I started at a temporary bus stop, which is still there because of the crashed UFO at Botley Road. I'm kind of like heading back there now. I still don't know exactly where to go, it's just footway closed, I think we've got to cross over. Yeah, it's been a good trip. There's good signs about getting home because I've got to go and feed my daughter's cats. Also, of course, Hynek. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Hynek. Hope he's alright. Well, I told my housemates to text me or call me if there's any problems, and they haven't, so I assume Hynek's alright. I mean, he's alright, you just feed him. Just be careful he doesn't get out. We're keeping him in the lounge, so keeping the door shut so he doesn't get out. So, should be alright. And we let him out sometimes, but most of the time we just keep him in the lounge. We've got a rule, if we open the door, Hynek has to be in the lounge with the door shut. Anyway, let's cross over here. This is, and here's Osney. I'll come home now. I'm just sitting in this little park area here. Going to go and feed my daughter's cats in a minute, and then I've got to go home and, of course, check on old Hynek on the other side. I hope he's all right. I just thought I'd just do a brief summary or brief summing up of the event that's just gone. The event that I've just come home from. I'm back in Normiville again. Oh dear. It's always a bit of a drag in it, but I'll get over it. Post-conference blues is a very temporary situation. But I realised I've had another look through the notes, and I realised probably when I did my little review, my reader's review, I didn't really do it very well, because I was just trying to find time to squeeze it all in with everything happening and spending time with my friends. I also haven't done a souvenirs video. I must apologise for that. There's not an awful lot to show. I mean, I've got a couple of flyers, that's all. I mean, it's not worth doing a souvenirs video. But various people talked about, I'll go through a couple of other points that several speakers talked about, the 2012 shift. Now, I said at the time, and I've said it since, that it was one of the possibilities after the 21st of December 2012 was that we'd wake up the following day and everything would be normal, everything would appear normal, and that's what happened. And as a result, everyone thought, well, and there's not much point then, is it? What are we wasting our time? It was all a big delusion, but was it? I think what happened was, and more than one speaker made this point, that
what happened was, on a very, very deep etheric energetic level in the universe, when the Mayan calendar changed over, a switch was flipped. It's not like switching on a light, it's more like it's something that then creates a new energy that builds up slowly at an invisible level in these hyperdimensional realms, and then eventually it does manifest as physical changes which we see, which are visible, which are perceivable in the 3D world. And I believe that happened. Funny enough, it was David Icke who said that 2016 would be a special year. He said this back in like about 2007 or so. He did an interview and he said, forget 2012, 2016 is the year when we see real change. And wasn't he right? And since this has continued, we have like more, the revelations over UFOs and things like that, and other things and other conspiracies. The COVID situation, which was a backlash, and its counter backlash, which was catastrophic for the bad guys. That was all a product of the 2012 energy, I believe. On the subject of people feeling more tired than normal, I'm glad I'm not the only one. People who feel they have no energy. I thought, well, it's just you getting old, Ben, But that can become a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. But, I just feel feeling, now, Jill Kirkham in particular, I thought, brought up the subject of star seeds. Now, if you come to an event like this, a conference, people don't change because people don't change really because they go to basis conferences. Well, they do change, they learn things, as I have done, but they don't go there and then become different people as a result. They go there because they're already different people. I was really surprised. I had a conversation with somebody who I went to, who was at the conference, actually, and she rolled up her sleeve and she showed me she's got, like, abduction marks. The 3 spots. She's got them on her arm. And it's like what I've got on my arm. Do you remember me telling you about the implant and stuff like that? It's just strange, isn't it? I mean, it's maybe we're all of us who go to that conference are starseeds, which is why we feel so alone, and so isolated, and all the other things, all the other points I made about not fitting in, feeling post-conference blues because I've got to leave and come back. I don't want to sound arrogant, but that's how I feel. I feel I'm different, I don't fit in. I fit in at basis, though. I fit in with those people. Didn't want to come home. Well, on the subject of the David Grush complaint, now, a lot of debunkers, this wasn't actually one of the speakers who brought this up, not even Mark Pilkington, but a lot of the debunkers have brought up the fact that, well, David Grush made a complaint that the Inspector General, the Intelligence Inspector General and the Defence Inspector General says were credible and urgent. But did he? Yeah, but he didn't mean the UFOs. He meant the accusations of bullying. Well, no. I think he did mean the UFOs, because an accusation of bullying and harassment within the organisation can usually be treated by a little meeting in a boardroom somewhere. That's how it was when I was accused of bullying another member of staff. One of the things I eventually got sacked for. I didn't go into a skiff. I don't think there is such a thing in the NHS, but I didn't have to have a confidential meeting in a confidential area. It was sorted out in the normal disciplinary procedure. So why is the Inspector General going into skiffs, numerous skiffs, to sort out David Grush's complaint? It must mean because they're talking about the UFO complaint. Right. Euphoria. Now, euphoria is a word I want to describe. Euphoria has a spelling, of course, but it's actually a homophone for UFO RIA. This is a word invented by Mark Pilkington to describe the way you feel when you believe in UFOs and weird things happen and how you feel at a conference and things like that. Because Mark Pilkington used to be a believer like me. Yeah, Pilkington, like I said, I can't go into. How can I go into more detail about what Pilkington said? He's. I think I'll have to wait until I review his book. But all this stuff, he said things like, "Oh, the UFO belief is now weaponized and connected to the far right." Tucker Carlson is into UFOs now. Oh, it must be fascists. January the 6th people believe in UFOs, and they carried out this horrible insurrection. It was a bloody staged event, of course. And Tucker Carlson's a good guy. He's not far right, whatever that means. The Black Mirror. Now, this is something that Mark Rayworth talked about. A black mirror is used for scrying. Now, scrying is a bit like looking into a crystal ball. You stare into it, and eventually you get visions. Now, there's a very famous black mirror. You can see it in the British Museum, actually. It was owned by Dr. John Dee, who was an alchemist and a spy. He was actually the basis of the character James Bond. Of course, Ian Fleming, as you know from my Helen Duncan videos, was a spy. And his code name was 007. Yeah, Ian Fleming was an occultist as well as a secret agent. The Aswang. Now, the Aswang is a creature. It's a vampire-like creature in Filipino mythology. And Mark Pilkington makes a big deal about how in World War II they used the Americans used the Aswang. They disguised bodies as being killed by the Aswang to try and terrify the locals. And he compares that to UFOs. I think he's comparing apples and oranges. Does Mark Pilkington realise how old and how old the UFO phenomenon is? How it's been a ubiquitous part of the human experience, probably since prehistoric times. Does he realise that there's some kind of double bluff going on here, and what he's saying is a part of the trick? I think he's being very naive if he doesn't see that. Soulless people. Do some in the Q&A. Someone asked, do what's this? Have I got I've got a little spider on me. Chuck it over my shoulder. It's a money spider. They call that. Maybe I'll get some money now. Are people soulless? Are there people who don't have souls? Well, everything has a soul. Everything has an etheric element to themselves. There are people who have different souls to most people, like psychopaths. Now, the end times are now, yes. If you look at my apocalypse video, I agree with that totally. Leaving the United Nations. Apparently, yeah, Rima Labo wants to leave, and Sandy Adams say we should leave the United Nations. And yeah, I read G. Edward Griffin's A Fearful Master. I mentioned this to Sandy in my interview with her. Yeah, it's about the UN. And about how destructive it is, and how it is an embryonic world government. Yeah. Beetlejuice. Now, the Beetlejuice supernova. Now, this came up with Karen Tannehill. Now, Karen, what's her name? Teresa Tannehill. I must say, you know, despite what I said about her earlier, she does maintain a little bit of optimism. As she, in the Q&A, she did say, you know, I mean, people are waking up. It's not a done deal. So I don't want to be too hard on her. I wouldn't say she's like really you know, she's not that melancholy, but you know, she just said she's right to say it, to be honest, and say how it is, you know. But the Beetlejuice supernova, as far as I don't think that is going to be dangerous, because its axis is pointing in the wrong direction to release a gamma ray burst that could harm the Earth from 600 light years. But so that's not one of them. Now, I was going to ask a question in the Q&A, and I eventually thought of one, and it was one that they didn't have time to answer. But it was, I was going to say, I for one, you know, feel very depressed at the end of a good conference, and the thought of going back to the so-called real world. How do you keep your spirits up? That was going to be my question. And that's a question I have to address now, because now I'm in a situation where I need to do that. And the answer is, stay in touch with people. Also, you've got to go through what Colin Woolford calls spiritual decompression. So listen to lots of radio shows about UFOs and read a UFO book and all the other things that remind you of bases, and watch a bases video just to keep yourself that energy up for a while, and it dissipates slowly, I think, and that is the answer. So generally I'll say, right, brilliant, it was a brilliant conference. I think Miles did a fantastic job, and so did all the other people who helped organise it, and other speakers were, well, you know, I got my problems with some of the speakers. Well, Mark Pilkington specifically I do have issues with, but even him, I'd say I'd like to thank him for coming along and being there, and for the other people as well, and say that the speakers were real great, and I look forward to seeing them all again very soon. For everyone else who turned up, and all the friends and the new friends I made, and the old friends I was reunited with, thank you for that. And I really can't wait for the next Basis conference. I really can't. There's going to be another one. I'm going to the ASAP Seriously Strange conference, and damn it, it's the same weekend as the UFO Academy, Kerry Cassidy's Awake and Aware. They've been booked the same weekend. I mean, what can you do? There are only so many weekends in a year. They happen to book these two conferences parallel. I've already bought tickets for ASAP Seriously Strange. I already promised a friend I'd go as well, so I'm going to that. But you know, that's a shame. That's a great shame, because I love Awaken Away and I would definitely go if I wasn't going to ASAP. But you know, these things happen, and there's other events I'm going to as well. I'm hoping to speak at more events. And but you know, the Crafty Nihilist, by the way, next Monday 7 PM I'm doing a talk on their channel, so tune into the Crafty Nihilist. So yeah, I'm staying within the community, albeit from a distance. But most of all, I think I'd like to say thank you to you, the Hopanmo TV viewers, for watching. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.